Have you ever felt unseen or wondered if you were too far gone to be forgiven? What if, in your lowest moment, someone looked at you, not with judgment, but with love, and called you by name? This is the story of Zacchaeus, a man who had everything, wealth, power, and status, but was lost and isolated by his choices. One encounter with Jesus changed everything. What would it be like for Jesus to stop, look past the crowds, and call you by name? Zacchaeus' story reminds us that no one is beyond the reach of grace, no matter how lost they feel. Let's step into this story and see how one encounter with Jesus can turn even the hardest heart toward redemption. In the bustling, sun-soaked streets of Jericho, there lived a man named Zacchaeus, whose name stirred feelings of resentment and betrayal in the hearts of his neighbors. Zacchaeus was no ordinary man. He was a chief tax collector, a man of great wealth and great isolation. He had accumulated his fortune by collecting taxes from his own people, often taking more than what was fair and keeping the extra for himself. In the eyes of his fellow Jews, Zacchaeus wasn't just a wealthy man. He was a traitor, a collaborator with the oppressive Roman Empire. To them, Zacchaeus was unworthy of love or respect. But deep in his heart, Zacchaeus felt something missing. He had money, power, and luxury, but none of it filled the emptiness he felt inside. He heard the murmurs in the streets, the whispers that cut him down when people thought he wasn't listening. He knew what they thought of him, and though he tried to hide it, Zacchaeus longed for something more, something real. One day, a wave of excitement washed over the town. News had spread like wildfire. Jesus of Nazareth was passing through Jericho, the healer, the teacher, the man who spoke with authority, who welcomed the outcasts and touched the lepers, the man who claimed to forgive sins. Everyone wanted to see Jesus, to hear his words, to witness his miracles. Zacchaeus too had heard of Jesus. A spark of hope ignited within him. Could this man, who welcomed sinners, be the answer to the longing in his heart? But there was a problem. The streets were already packed with people, and Zacchaeus, being short in stature, couldn't see over the crowd. How could he catch even a glimpse of this Jesus? Desperate, Zacchaeus did something that no rich, respectable man would normally do. He ran ahead of the crowd and climbed up into a sycamore fig tree. There, hidden among the leaves, he waited, his heart pounding with anticipation. For the first time in a long while, Zacchaeus felt like a child, anxious, hopeful, alive. He only wanted to see Jesus. He didn't expect anything more. As the crowd pressed forward, Zacchaeus saw him. Jesus was walking toward the tree. His eyes were filled with compassion, his steps deliberate and full of purpose. Suddenly, Jesus stopped right below Zacchaeus, and then something unexpected happened. Jesus looked up. In that moment, everything changed. "Zacchaeus," Jesus called, his voice filled with love and kindness. "Come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." Zacchaeus froze, unable to believe what he had just heard. How did Jesus know his name? Out of all the people in the crowd, why would Jesus choose to spend time with him, a sinner, a man despised by everyone? But there was no mistake in Jesus' eyes. He saw Zacchaeus not for what he had done, but for who he could become. Trembling with joy, Zacchaeus climbed down from the tree as fast as he could. The crowd, however, wasn't pleased. Their murmurs of excitement turned to grumbling. "Why is Jesus going to the house of a sinner?" they asked, their voices thick with judgment. "Does he not know who Zacchaeus is? This man is a thief, a traitor. Surely Jesus could choose better company." But Jesus wasn't swayed by their accusations. He had come for people like Zacchaeus, those who were lost, broken, and hungry for redemption. He knew Zacchaeus' heart, and that was all that mattered. When they arrived at his house, Zacchaeus felt overwhelmed. The man he had longed to see had not only noticed him but had chosen to enter his home, to dine with him. And in the presence of such love and grace, something inside Zacchaeus broke free. He stood before Jesus, his voice trembling with emotion, and said, "Lord, today I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anyone, I will pay them back 4 times the amount." In that moment, Zacchaeus did more than repent. He transformed. He opened his heart to the truth that Jesus had seen in him all along. The wealth that had once chained him in greed and isolation now became a tool for generosity and restoration. And Jesus, smiling at this remarkable change, declared, "Today, salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." The crowd stood in awe. The man they had rejected, the sinner they had despised, had been touched by the hand of grace. In the eyes of the world, Zacchaeus had been unworthy, but in the eyes of Jesus, he was precious, worthy of love and capable of transformation. That day, Zacchaeus learned what true wealth was. It wasn't found in money or power, but in the grace that Jesus offered freely. His life, once defined by selfish gain, was now marked by love and generosity. He had found what he had been missing all along: salvation. And so Zacchaeus, the outcast of Jericho, became a testimony of the incredible power of Jesus' love to transform even the hardest of hearts.